Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Sequential Consequence. My name is Nelson, and I'm here with a different kind of video today. Considering making haul videos is not very sustainable, this is going to be like another kind of video that I think people who like haul videos might like, because it gives you kind of like a lot of books at once, and you could be like, so it's good for when you want to kind of like scout a bunch of books at once and just kind of a variety of stuff. And I saw that my pal Filippo at Flippo Taco, he made this kind of video, and I've been thinking about doing something like this for a while. And then I saw people posting their monthly reads on some of my Facebook groups, and that's always something I've really enjoyed. And I've never really done my own because usually my reading is kind of inconsistent, because sometimes I'm a little bit more busy, or I'm just spending more time in a different hobby, like I'm playing more games or something like that. So it's not always consistent, so I really don't want to make these videos because I don't really know if I'm going to be making them every month. But at least it'll give you something, else to kind of keep going. So it's kind of like almost an in-between from a haul, and like reviews. So it's probably gonna, I think people might enjoy this format. So I don't know, let me know what you think in the comments. I'm just going to go over the books that I read. I'm going to talk about them a little bit, but I'm not going to do like full reviews. These are going to be quick. And depending on the amount of books, I'll probably do it quicker or less quick. I mean, there are a lot of books, but a lot of them are the same series, so I don't really need to spend too much time. And this is also going to be a mixed reading. I'm going to include anything here. I'm probably not going to talk about anime because I don't really even remember what stuff I've watched and stuff like that, and it's not anything I haven't like physically anyway, so I'm probably not going to talk about that too much. I might mention it at the end, I don't know, maybe if you guys are curious. But yeah, this is going to be a mixed haul. It's going to be comics and manga. I'm going to go back and forth and alternate between them. I know some people will not like that, but a big reason why I made this channel is because I kind of wanted to bridge the gap between these two mediums, because I feel like people who like one would like the other and vice versa. And I'm just a huge supporter of that notion. So yeah, let's get started. And right off the bat, I'm going to start with a book that I've already reviewed on this channel. It's Go-Go Monster by Taiyo Matsumoto. This is a story. I'm not going to get into it too much. I have a video on it. You can just click on my channel and you'll find it. I don't have a lot of videos. It should be fast to find. But Go-Go Monster by Taiyo Matsumoto. Beautiful book, and the story is just as beautiful. To me, this was a 10 out of 10 easily. It's just a beautiful, beautiful book about a kid who uses imaginary monsters as a defense mechanism and kind of withdraws himself from his peers and whatnot. So if you like coming-of-age stories, if you like reading about child psychology and things like that, I think you're going to enjoy this a lot. Next, we're going to move on to a comic that is actually very similar to Go-Go Monster, and in my video, I actually recommended people read this. And I started reading this a long time ago, and I read one of the stories in here, but I never finished it, which some people will crucify me for, because this book is amazing, and people are right to tell you to read this. This is Jeff Lemire's magnum opus as far as I'm concerned. I have not read his Sweet Tooth, though, so that might top it, but this is amazing. It's just a very, just a concise story, or three stories really in one book. And I think for a lot of manga fans, I think that they're gonna be able to pick this up quickly because it's in black and white. There also is not that much text, and the story is just told beautifully, beautifully. And most of these stories, like the first story is about a kid who uses his imagination to kind of escape, much like Go-Go Monster. The second story is more about ruminating on your life and whatnot. And the third one is about a nurse that spends some time in the place where these stories happen. There's even like that where like the kid draws his own comics. But yeah, amazing book, highly recommended. Now we're gonna go back to comics. There is Beastars Volume 5. This is the last book that is out. In the US, I think the next one should be coming out Who knows at this point, actually? I don't know. I have no idea. It might have gotten delayed. But this covers most of the anime. The anime actually goes up into halfway into 6. So I read scans of that just so I could kind of feel some finality, feel some conclusion. And I'm really tempted to read ahead even more because Viz is releasing these very slowly. And they really need to pick it up because the series is almost 20 volumes in Japan. And it's about to end within the near future. So I think Viz really needs to speed it up. They really need to speed up how fast these come out because this story is incredible. It's really hard to show you anything really from here because it's all kind of spoilers. And they kind of spoiled the climax of the anime. So I'm not going to show you much. Actually, here's the one that I can show. Just so you get a feel for the art. The art does vary a lot even within here because it's very cinematic. Yeah, it's hard to show anything from here, but amazing climax right here. And I highly recommend this series to anybody who likes just kind of psychological tales. I keep using that word a lot, but it really is. Like there's just a lot to this here, and it just delves really into these kinds of like archetypes we have in society, and it definitely has a lot to say. Even ahead of its like major metaphor of just using the animals to symbolize society, even below that, there are levels and levels of subtlety that just make this one of my favorite series for sure. Like this is, I gotta read a little bit more before it cements a place in my favorites, but this series is amazing. It's definitely gonna go up there. And the anime is also really good, although it rushes some things. It took out a scene that I kind of have a problem with, but it's very good. You should watch it or read it, whatever you do. Then next we got Granblue Dreaming Volume 7. One of my favorite series of all time. This series is just hilarious. The timing, the comedic timing, and this is incredible. The facial expressions are really hilarious, and the art can legitimately look good once in a while. I mean, it always looks good, but I mean, like once in a while, like the mangaka will actually go all out and just make it look really good. But the facial expressions are incredible. I mean, if you don't know what Granblue Dreaming is, it's a book where these students are in a diving club, but most of the time all they do is just drink and get naked. And it's super wholesome, despite what I just said. And it's just the best. It's the manga with the best comedic timing, in my opinion. I'm not into comedy manga, like almost at all, really, or into comedy anime. But this is just so good. Now next, I reread the first volume of Birthright. I read this a really long time ago, actually, and I really enjoyed it. And I have up to volume 7 up there, and I have 8 on the way, which is the last one. And after that, there's only 10 issues left, I think, until the series ends, which may take a while considering what's going on, but it is about to end. So I started rereading it again so that once the ending comes out, hopefully I can read it and my pace will pan out well into that. Being told I have only 15% battery, so I got to hurry up a little bit. But yeah, this is I would actually compare this to a isekai a little bit. Basically, this kid gets lost in the woods. He kind of ends up in another world, and then he comes back. So all within this volume that happens, and then he comes back to the real world once he's a lot older, because time where he is in that fantasy world passes faster than time on Earth. So he comes back and he's older, so his family's like, that's not him. And then they eventually, they realize that it is indeed him, and this is how he gets lost. The art is incredible. The coloring is really good. And and he comes back as this old guy right here. That's what he looks like when he comes back. And there is a twist that I don't really want to spoil too much. But basically, when he comes back, everything is not what it seems, is all that I will say. And also, without spoiling too much, the worlds become a little bit more intertwined, like the fantasy world and the real world. So this differentiates itself a lot from isekai and from fantasy by kind of doing that, having both separate worlds, but also intertwining both stories. A lot of the story is told through flashbacks like this, so we know what happened, when he was in the fantasy world. But a lot of the story is also done in the present. So all the weapons that they found on him. But yeah, just an incredible series with incredible art. And I would recommend this to a lot of people. Joshua Williamson is a great writer. I really enjoy him a lot. Now, next up, we got Invitation from the Crab. I reviewed this on the channel, so I'm not going to go over it too much. But basically, this is a little kind of a surreal slice of life series where each story is kind of separate and it kind of feels like a dream. And we follow this girl right here as she goes through various different dream-like scenarios. And it's just a really wholesome, cute series, but also kind of, for me, it evoked this very specific feeling that not a lot of manga evoke, and as such, I think I would definitely recommend this to a lot of people. I didn't actually give any ratings. I mean, I don't really like giving ratings that much, but if you guys need ratings, this 10 out of 10 masterpiece, absolutely read it. Go Monster, I already said 10 out of 10. Beastars, I think it's a 10 out of 10. I give out a lot of really positive scores, if you haven't noticed, because I know what I like, and I don't really, the very few things that I buy are duds. Very few things that I buy I would consider below like a 7, and if it's a 6, it's definitely going to be sold. Granblue Dreaming, 10 out of 10. Birthright, maybe like an 8, but I think as a first volume, this is really solid. It's a lot more solid than a lot of first volumes, so I think maybe like an 8.59, although I think this series eventually becomes a lot better than that, in my opinion. Invitation from a Crab, something like an 8.5. Maybe I would even give it like a 9 because it's just so unique, and that's something that a lot of manga just don't. Okay, next. Another book that I talked on the channel, Heathen. Viking story, kind of thrown through like a feminist lens, and I know that might sound bad to some of you, but it's not. Trust me, it's handled very well. It doesn't bash you over the head with anything. And it's just a beautiful story. I like it a lot. The art looks incredible, and I just can't wait to read more of this. I've got volume 2 on the way, so I should have volume 2 here to read. I did a review on this channel as well. I think I mentioned that before, so you can go check it out if you want to know more about this. I would definitely recommend it to people who like manga because the art is kind of like a weird mix between I mean, it's not black and white, it's colored, but the color is kind of minimalistic, so I feel like it would be like a nice transition. Now, next, I read the first 2 volumes of Dorohedoro, and this series is amazing. I'm in love. I absolutely love this. I can't wait to read more. I actually just got pretty much the rest of the series right here, which I don't actually have space for, so it's on the floor. But I actually just got the package yesterday with the rest of it. I just need, I think, volume 17 to ship from Amazon. Whom I didn't want to buy from Amazon, but that volume was getting really hard to find, and actually a lot of these are getting really hard to find. So if you're interested in this series, I would advise you to actually wait until all this blows over and you can buy these, and these are reprinted and you can buy them easily without worrying about missing volumes. But if you were planning on buying it really soon, then you might want to jump on it right now, because this is blowing up with the anime. Right Stuff also had like buy one get one free viz. So yeah, definitely hop on this. This is incredible. It's just a really, I don't even know how to describe it. It's kind of like a dark humor fantasy like series in a kind of dystopian world. I wouldn't even call it dystopian. I don't even know what I would call it. The art is super gritty, like super sketchy, and completely my style. I love stylized art in manga. One of my least favorite things is when manga is just kind of generic looking. I really don't like that, and this series is just hilarious. It's crazy. It's one of the most bizarre things that defy definition that I've read and ingested. I would almost put it there with JoJo's in the sense that it's just this really unique sense of humor and style that I haven't seen anywhere else. So yeah, definitely, I definitely highly recommend that to anybody. It's only 23 volumes long. It just finished. If you don't want to invest into it, watch the anime on Crunchyroll. I don't know if it's on Crunchyroll, but you know, you can watch it on streaming service. It's actually going to be on Netflix, I think, in a month or so. So yeah, definitely watch that or read it. It's incredible. It's probably going to be a favorite of mine. And it's a 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10. It's just so good. I haven't read a first volume that I liked more than that. Now, the last bit of the comics, these are actually kind of heavy. Last bit of the comics, I read the final volumes of Lock and Key. This is volume 4 with the music box key right here. Volume 5 with the time key right here. And volume 6 with the Omega key right there. So these are, this series is incredible, honestly. I really like it a lot. Basically, these kids are stuck in a house. They're not stuck in a house, but they live in a house that's just got a lot of history that dates back centuries and has had important moments in history take place in this house. And this house has a lot of keys that are magical let me not give too much away, but these keys are magical and they have various effects, and there's a lot of keys. There's a ton of keys, each one has a different effect, and basically it becomes kind of a battle where the kids of the house, the 3 kids of the house, they're part of the Luck family. They have to they end up messing around with these keys, having some fun, but then they kind of they end up having to protect these keys from the main villain of the story, who's a great villain. I love this villain, who's trying to take control of the keys. And yeah, it's just a lot of like shenanigans, and I love when stories take place in a small enclosed space. And here, I mean, the whole story doesn't happen in the house, but it mostly happens in this big mansion. So I really like those kinds of claustrophobic stories. This is very much a horror story, but it's also kind of got this fantastical element to it, kind of like almost like Disney, like Ghibli, like magical like vibe to it. I know that the TV show that just came out, I know they kind of do away with most of the horror and instead focus on the fantastical aspect of it. I think that they should have definitely left the horror parts of it in because the horror in this is great. There's some good like body horror. There's like Lovecraftian horror. There's it's just incredible. I really like this. And if you like those kinds of like heady battles, like if you like something like Death Note or Platinum End or something like that, you would definitely enjoy this kind of story. Like if you like kind of like battles of wits with like powers and stuff like that, I think you would enjoy this a lot. Just a second, guys, while I get my charger and see if I can. Wait, give me 1 second. All right. Yeah, I thought if I hurried up, maybe I could get this video filmed before my phone died, but nah. Okay, so next up we've got one of the series that I finished up more recently, and that is Pluto. Pluto. And these are the volumes that I read in April. The other volumes I read kind of scattered throughout a lot of months. And I actually think I enjoyed the story a little bit less because I read this super slowly. But I did end up rereading a lot of the other volumes to kind of get me into it. But I did really like the story. Don't get me wrong. I think this is a perfect series. And I said this before in some other places. I've said it before. But yeah, let me not show you any spoilers because these are some later volumes. That's why I'm kind of showing you from volume 5. But yeah, the art looks incredible. I think Urasawa's art is just beautiful, and it's just really good. But yeah, I thought this was pretty much a perfect series, and if I had any complaint about it, is that it's almost too perfect. I would almost describe it as clinical in how it's put together, like almost mathematical, and how Urasawa builds this story up and then adds all these parts into this big end. It felt a little surgical and mathematical to me. You could even say robotic if you want to be a little cheeky about it, and you want to make some puns. But yeah, just incredible series. The last volume is actually a little bit thicker than the other ones. But yeah, it's an amazing series. It's it doesn't feel right to call it robotic because there's a lot of emotion here. I cried a couple of times here. There are a couple of arcs that are really, really heartfelt, and it's just a really concise story. It's a very dense, only 8 volumes, but every panel, almost everything is important that happens here. And I feel like that's kind of why I didn't like it as much as some other people. I would say this is absolutely a 10 out of 10. But in terms of how it would rank, like, it's not really, I don't think it would be a favorite of mine. Maybe we need to reread it. But I don't know. For me, I kind of like when manga is a little rougher around the edges. For me, that's almost a plus sometimes. Because it adds like some kind of humanity and stuff like that. I've been told that Monster does have a more like slip-ups kind of, not slip-ups, but like Urasawa has more time to kind of like let loose and do things that maybe are like a little bit more I guess fillery, I don't know, but things that add a little bit more dimensions to a story rather than being like a straight to the point story. Not that there aren't a lot of complex threads coming together in Pluto, there are a lot, but yeah, I think you get the point. Great series, definitely recommend it. Especially because it's only 8 volumes. I think this would definitely be a staple in almost any collection. I'm definitely going to read Monster pretty soon. Well, not pretty soon, but it's going to be my next Urasawa series. But probably after I finish Dorohoi Idoro, I'll probably read I Am a Hero. And then after that, because these are like all 20-ish volume series, after that, I'll probably do Monster. But I'm assuming it's going to be a lot more, a little bit more intensive. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit more. Now, this is the series that I'm focusing on right now. This is the series that I'm reading right now, and I'm kind of focusing on. And this is just, I'm really enjoying it so far because if you ever notice, it's actually missing right there. This is what it's missing. It's Happiness by Shuzo Oshimi. And I love Oshimi. Flowers of Evil is one of my favorite manga. And this is really good too. It's no Flowers of Evil. I don't think it has as much depth as Flowers of Evil. Flowers of Evil, I think, has a lot more to say about just teenagers, about sexuality, about puberty, about morality, and just things like that. Like that's a book that's like really specific almost in the themes that it tries to explore. Which, if you're familiar with Baudelaire's Flowers of Evil, you would know what that is. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about this. And the reason I mention Flowers of Evil so much, though, is because this has a lot in common with it. It follows a lot of the same beats, but it kind of adds vampires to the mix. And it's an interesting story. It's oh man, the art is incredible. I'm going to show you some art from the first volume, but let me show you the covers first, because these covers are incredible. These covers are amazing. My favorite covers in my collection by far. Just look at this one. Holy shit. Like, that looks beautiful. Just a beautiful book. And this is more or less what the art looks like inside. So it looks quite good inside, if I say so myself. And I actually think this is Oshimi's art at his best. I mean, I haven't read Inside Mary and some of his other stuff, but this is just incredible. I know this looks like spoilers, but this is like the first chapter. And oh man, just beautiful, beautiful art. And it's basically, let me just show you some more art. I want to show you like some more of the different kinds of art that you might be able to expect, because this is what it usually looks like when it's just like normal, you know. There's like one that's a little bit more stylized, but then there will be like things like, and let me see if I can find like a good example of it. Oh man, it's a little bit difficult to find a good example because a lot of them are spoilers. Actually, a lot of them are spoilers. Like, there's a lot happens in these series, and yeah, I don't want to spoil too much, but the sky is usually portrayed like this because that's how the vampires see it, and it's just really cool. I just really like how the sky is always portrayed like that. And there will be a lot of things like this. This kind of abstraction and just kind of like impressionistic kind of ways of doing things are partly why I like it so much. Oshimi really leans into the horror aspect, and he just kind of gets a lot done with more abstract art than you would normally see. I mean, this is not abstract at all, but just to show you how good the art looks. Yeah, and that's just one of the ways that that he'll do it, that he'll kind of portray things. There are some other ones. Oh man, where is it? There's a scene here that I also really enjoy. And we also have like spreads like that just they're just so good. And yeah, like this scene right here. Look at that. Like that. Do you ever see that in manga? That, I mean, in Gekiga maybe, but in manga you don't see that a lot. Like that kind of thing. Let me not show too much because I definitely don't want to spoil anything. But yeah, just a great series. Like I love his designs too. His women are beautiful, and I wish his males were a little bit less plain, honestly, because they basically always have the most generic names, and they look as generic as they come. I mean, just look at the guy here on the cover. I mean, to be fair, here he doesn't look very plain, but he's just a very plain-looking guy, and he kind of looks like Oshimi himself. Honestly, Oshimi definitely bases these stories a little bit on himself a little bit. I mean, this video's been pretty long, but yeah, I'm a big fan of Happiness. I think it's really good. I think I was gushing about it so much that I barely said anything about it. But vampires, high schoolers, Oshimi, his stories just kind of go crazy. He's great at climaxes. His story's super decompressed. Like Oshimi is not afraid to spend a long time on just an action. See, I love that sky. He's not afraid to like spend like a lot of pages. Like right here, he's spending a lot of pages where these characters are not even like doing much. But that's the kind of stuff that really carries the tension, in my opinion. Yeah, sorry, my camera is just not very good at focusing. Then it'll have things like this, where it's just like super scratchy, and I'm a big fan. I'm a super big fan, and I'm enjoying it a lot. I think this is maybe like an 8 out of 10 right now. I think maybe personally it would be like a 9 for me because I'm really enjoying it. But it definitely does not have the depth that Flowers of Evil has. Instead, it focuses a little bit more on horror and things like that, and I think that's where a lot of the appeal is for sure. It's only 10 volumes, so that's pretty cool. Most of Oshimi's stories are pretty short. But yeah, I didn't want to ramble so much about that book and about some of the other books. I actually initially wanted to make this video a lot shorter than it is. But hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Shout out to Flip Otaku too for reminding me that this is something I wanted to do. Because I watched this video, I really liked it, so go ahead and check out his channel. And I'll probably be doing more of these. I read a lot of books this month because, you know, I've been quarantined at home. But I have to go back to work next week, or actually this week. And so I'm probably not going to be reading as much. But we'll see, because they're not giving me a lot of hours at work. So maybe I'll have more time, for better or for worse. But that's been my my reads for the month. I think that's about it. Anime. Let me touch up on anime real quick. I watched the Rohan OVAs, for the JoJo OVAs, focusing on Rohan. There's 4 of them. It was just really nice to go back to Morio and get more reacquainted with that more like horror kind of tinge that season had, and that visual style that season had. It was really cool. I enjoyed it. Also, the last 2 OVAs were more in season 5 style. So it was just like a really nice blend, and it was cool to see the characters drawn in that style. What else did I do? What else did I watch? I finished Beastars. I thought it was great. I'm probably going to do, I might do a video kind of doing a review of Beastars volumes 1 through 5.5, and then comparing it to the anime a little bit. I might do a video like that. I was thinking about it. I think that was it, right? I don't know, I feel like I watched something else, but it doesn't really matter. I don't think you guys are that interested. You're probably not even watching anymore. But if you enjoyed the video, leave a like. Let me know what you've read this month in the comments below. I would be super interested. Like list it out, you know, do reviews, whatever you want, really. Like write as much or as little as you want. I'm just curious what you guys have read over the month and how much you guys have read over the month. But yeah, leave a like if you want to see more videos like this, reviews and hauls and things like that. Subscribe. If you have any opinions on how I'm making the videos and things like that, let me know. I'll always appreciate constructive criticism. I think I'm getting a little bit better at being just comfortable at talking to the camera and to you guys. I still do that a lot, you know, yeah, I still do that a lot, yeah, sorry, deal with it, I guess, but yeah. No more rambles, enjoy, have a good one, peace out.